Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Digitized Desperadoes. In this first part, we are going to be talking about Predator.
I love this movie a lot.
Fucking hell yeah,
This
man.
movie is great.
This movie's fantastic.
I'm not a fan.
God
Damn it.
damn it.
Not really at all.
Okay.
Shit.
So do we want to just get into it?
Now you guys have to defend this movie.
I will, because
I've
really
got
good.
stuff, buddy.
Okay. Let's give a plot synopsis.
So yeah, it starts off with this little cheesy segment of a spaceship flying, and you see a little escape pod land on Earth, and there's this alien predator. It's called the Predator, and it is systematically
Actually, it's
killing
not.
off.
No one calls it the Predator.
It is only referred to ever once.
It's referred to
It is
as the
called
Predator in
demon
the
that makes trophies out of man.
he's referred to Predator in the closed captions, so
Yeah, but my point is, the point is that
He's never explicitly given a name, really.
he is a hunter.
well, actually that's funny
Which
that you
was
say
the
that.
original title.
Yeah,
it
that
was
was the
the
original
original
title.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, the movie was also originally completely different. But
Yeah, okay. Actually I want to go into that real quick before we get into the plot
Just-
synopsis.
Oh yeah, we want to
This
talk about
started out as a joke.
Yeah.
Because it was about the Rocky movies. They were saying that, oh, Rocky's running out of opponents to fight. What, are they going to fight an alien? And then a director made a little script for that.
No, it was like two brothers, Jim and John
Yeah.
Thomas, and this was their first screenplay ever. And they were so new to the film business that they didn't know how to properly submit the screenplay to a studio. But they did know of the producer Joel Silver, who produced movies like Lethal Weapon, Commando, Die Hard. He'd later do the Matrix trilogy. So
Yeah.
somehow these brothers got it into the 20th Century Fox offices and just left the script at his doorstep. And then he found it, loved it, and fast-tracked the movie to get made.
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah,
No.
Wikipedia doesn't say that.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Where did
Yeah, the
where did
original
you
script
find
of
that?
yeah, really.
There's articles.
Oh, okay.
I'll just assume they're trustworthy. But also, the original script had nothing to do with the final movie. It was actually a band of alien hunters who are all different species just hunting things.
Yeah.
That was the original script, which sounds interesting to me, but also
Well-
kind of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, something like that.
That maybe they're immortal. I don't know.
It would have been a completely different movie, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Who can tell?
Also, didn't the director go on to do Die Hard?
Let me
I'm
see.
pretty
John
sure
McTiernan? Yeah.
John McTiernan just did
Die Hard,
Die
Hunt for
Hard.
Red October.
which I have never seen, but
I haven't seen Die
this
Hard
doesn't
either.
this doesn't make me want to see it.
Oh, I fucking love Predator. This movie is great.
The movie's awesome.
It
You're just
starts.
wrong.
I really like it. It just gets into the plot. We're gonna get into the plot synopsis now. It starts out like a war film of some sort, like 1970s. They're in Central America. Arnold Schwarzenegger. His name is Dutch or something.
Yeah.
They all have
Just call him
names
Arnold.
except
Just
Arnold Schwarzenegger. You just call Arnold because why not?
Yeah,
It's Arnold.
just call.
So yeah, he has this elite squad of rescue ops, and he's been called into Central America by his old friend Dylan,
Dylan.
and they go in to to Central America, find the people, and they've been all filleted and gross, and it turns out it's this alien called the Predator who is systematically killing all of them, and they have to try and take him down.
You skipped a lot of steps there.
I know. I was just
Yeah,
going through the general plot. We can go in now with more detail.
Basically, they go into a jungle, and then they blow up some dudes, and then they start getting killed, and then they all die except Arnold and Anna or whatever.
Yeah.
Then Arnold kills the.
When you put it like
No, he
that,
doesn't
you
kill the
say you
Predator.
make it sound boring.
yeah, and
It doesn't kill the Predator. The Predator kills itself.
Well,
okay, but it's implied he's gonna bleed out.
yeah.
It's implied that the reason the Predator killed himself is because
He basically kills
I'll
the
get
Predator.
into that more later.
he probably didn't want Arnold to take him as a trophy, so
Yeah.
that's why.
No, I've got more on that later.
Okay, well that's
Okay.
I want to start off with the the fucking beginning when they Arnold comes in and he meets Dylan again, and he goes, "Dylan, you son of a bitch," and they have the best handshake ever. They turn this handshake into an arm wrestle.
With and they're just not even on a table or anything. They're just pushing each other.
Yeah.
Standing up.
Connor, you were saying something?
Yeah, that's the scene that happened.
Yeah. No, I just thought it was a great scene. Anyways.
It's just such an odd... The tone doesn't make any sense at all.
This is really a lighthearted but also really creepy thing. It's a stupid action film that is also a little, like, fun.
Basically, it
but
takes a...
also smart.
It takes an action movie, and then it's like, no, this is a slasher film now.
Yeah, it starts out as like a typical war movie, and then the heroes that are all these buff dudes like slowly realize there's something going on, and it's really bad. And I really like that.
What do you like about it?
It really does the suspense well.
Does it?
I think it does.
How?
Well, I don't never... Well, how do you think it does it bad?
Well, Arnold's this big buff guy, and you know someone's gonna get out of there alive.
Yeah, but like you don't know if they're all gonna die or if like, they're, gonna
It kind of plays. For me, it kind of plays both sides of the bad parts of like no suspense. Where on the one hand you have the Predator, who just so completely outclasses them in every way. He has the stupid heat vision, the infrared, whatever. He has lasers.
I think that's awesome, dude. What do you mean? You can't just add the word stupid in front of heat vision.
I hate the infrared a lot, mostly because of how it looks visually and the sounds. Oh my god, they're terrible.
Well, the sounds are supposed to be terrible.
They're not terrible as in like annoying. They're just like uninteresting. They sound like stock sound effects they put over to sound cool.
They're not
they do all these
stock.
Stupid, like,
they're really
clicks.
Cool.
That's how sound effects work.
The sound effects I thought were really cool of this movie. They're all like weird, distorted shit, and it's just like, oh, this is just the aliens. Like it's normal to the alien.
Well, most of the weird alien noises were just him processing their sound, their voices, and replaying it, which was kind of cool.
I thought that was also really neat.
No, that's cool.
But I was more talking about like all the clicking noises it makes. They're more annoying than they are suspenseful. They're just kind of.
I think it sounds
creepy.
Awesome. It's the coolest thing ever.
Really good sound.
But
do you guys really think the sound design is good?
I mean, it's not the best thing of this movie, but it's really good.
The Predator's like vocals, that was done by like a person. That was done by Peter Cullen, who's the voice of like Optimus Prime.
The sound effects were probably one of my least favorite parts of the movie.
Well, I guess we could just move on from there.
You're being that guy. You're really
I'm just telling you my honest opinions.
I also really enjoy the fact that this film wastes no time to just get into it.
It wastes a lot of time.
It takes a bit. Predator doesn't kill anybody.
No, I
for
mean, I'm
40
talking
minutes,
about getting into their
because
mission. I didn't mean like to get into the Predator. I meant to get into the mission in general.
Yeah, but over the whole movie, you probably have an hour and 20 minutes of just people walking around a jungle.
Yeah, because they're slowly realizing. I
don't
like that
know
part
where the heck
was
the
well
Predator
done.
is.
They're slowly throughout the course of this film realizing that this isn't a man. Like this, I feel like it was kind of almost realistic in a way where they think that it's just, people like the enemy units that are like spying on them constantly, and they don't know what the fuck's going on. And so
then
they're
it
just
becomes
trying
more
their
and more
best
apparent
to
that,
figure it out.
this isn't a human, this is some weird other being.
Because realistically speaking, if you were in the jungle and you're a combat super soldier, whatever guy, you're never going to just go, oh, it's aliens. Like, that's dumb. So I think it really shows their like, thought process really well.
I feel like you're ignoring that one part where, like, halfway through, the one Dutch's one guy, I don't know their names. He just stops and like looks at where the Predator's hiding and is like, he is not a man.
Yeah, Billy.
Oh, Billy, yeah, but like
he's the
nobody
first one to
believes
really
him.
catch on.
Everybody is like, "What do you mean?"
They don't deny
They
it,
don't
though.
understand what he means, though.
I don't think they deny. I think they agree with him.
Yeah, but they never say like it's aliens. They're just like, "Well, what the fuck is it?"
Well,
They're,
why would
they're
they
like,
assume it's
answers.
alien?
"What?"
Why would they assume it's alien?
They don't.
They also know it's not a person. They're
Well, they
pretty
don't know for sure what it is, though, and they're like, okay, well, if it's not a person, then it could be like, I don't know, like some enemy tank, or I don't fucking know.
I think they're pretty willing to accept that it's not a person, and that I'm not.
But
okay
like,
with
well,
that.
if it's not a person, then what is it? And I think that in its own is like its own like really weird question, because like it makes the suspense really go up. I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes them like they don't know what they're fighting, and that's more terrifying, is what I guess.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think that I think they go with it too quickly. I think they should constantly be throughout the movie be questioning what it is and be like, okay, what kind of weapon could we do?
Well, I mean, the second person to die is Blaine, and he gets blasted in the chest, and there's like it's all cauterized, so that's kind of an immediate that's not
Yeah,
normal.
because there's
That's
also like the
happening.
enemy has these weird plasma weapons they've never seen before. They're like, what is this? So it can't be a man.
Okay, but why would their immediate thoughts go to something not of this world? Why wouldn't they just think, oh, the enemies have like an experimental weapon or something?
Because that doesn't exist.
But I don't know what
Yeah,
they
but
were
what do they
thinking.
know? You guys are going
They
with
never-
the mystery of the jungle.
They weren't thinking that it was aliens. They were just like, well, we don't know what it is.
It's just some unknown entity.
Okay, but in a situation like that, would you not make guesses? I think you would make guesses.
I mean, I think they were trying, but like they
I think
didn't
it's like a heat
immediately
of the
go to
moment
aliens.
thing where you just don't really have the time.
They have a lot of
process.
downtime when they're being hunted.
If you
But they're making traps and stuff. They're not
If you
thinking, what
were
are we
told-
fighting? They're just, how do we kill the thing we're fighting?
If you were told that it wasn't aliens and you didn't think it was experimental weapons, what would you think it is?
What else could it be?
I don't know. Exactly. That's what
We're
I was
getting into
saying.
very hypotheticals here.
I don't know.
I'm just okay. The problem with movies like this is that there's very little going on.
I think it really works though. Like I really enjoy just watching them talk to each other and everything like that.
Okay, but the dialogue is terrible.
It's so cheesy. I love it.
It's just bad. All of Arnold's lines are the worst thing.
Well, I mean,
I've
that's
ever
just
heard.
kind of Arnold.
This
because
movie
he
gave
can't
us you
really
gotta get to the
enunciate.
chopper. It's
He
so
can't
great.
talk. Arnold is like a whole other language. It's not English, but it's not Austrian. It's Arnold.
And then you got the guy that's making all these really, really, really bad sex jokes. It's fucking hysterical to me.
I just thought it was awkward. I just cringed at it.
No,
I'm
he's
like,
so
yeah.
awkward, but like in the context of the movie, he's awkward too. And he
Just a
goes
bunch
over
of
to Billy.
men trying to be the most manly.
Yeah, he goes over to Billy, their like tracker Native American guy, which bad stereotype. I'll give you that.
I mean, they never said he was Native American.
He's obviously Native American.
I think that's an assumption you made, but okay.
I think I don't know. It really feels like they were going for that.
I didn't see that
trope, but
No, the actor is descendant of
yeah.
Cherokee. No, he is Native American.
But he's a tracker guy, and he's this really cool-looking guy, and he just goes up and makes this awkward joke where he's like, I was going down on my wife, and I was like, man, it's so big. Man, it's so big. But I didn't say it twice. It was the echo. And he, like, freezes for a moment, and he just starts cracking up. I thought it was hilarious. It's not the joke that was funny. It was the reaction, in my opinion.
Yeah, you get Billy's laugh, which
Yeah.
the Predator uses at the end.
Oh yeah, and then the Predator does take that, yeah. And that was that scene is also great, where the Predator figures out that humans like laugh, and so he like can't laugh in like his own tongue or whatever, so he just plays back the recording at the end when he thinks that he's got Arnold beat, and it's so creepy, it's great.
I don't think he thinks he has Arnold beat.
Yeah, he does. Well, he thinks that like I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna totally nuke your ass.
Because you see, yeah, at the end, it's a mushroom cloud.
Yeah,
That's still completely not how I saw that scene.
I don't understand what other way you could see that scene.
Like I said, he's the hunter. He takes trophies, so he thinks Arnold is another hunter and is going to take a trophy of him. So he blows himself up so that he can't.
Well, even then, that's still funny to him. I think that would be really funny.
But and also
He's like, I got you beat.
When Arnold asks, "What the hell
can't
are
get
you?"
me.
the Predator actually says, "What the hell are you back?"
Yeah,
Because he's just as like
I think that's a really cool thing.
scared of Arnold.
I think the
he
audio things are
basically
really
thinks
cool.
Arnold is a monster too at that point.
I didn't see it as fear.
What? No, the
Well, I mean,
monster
he
wasn't
has.
feared.
I saw it as him taunting him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could also work it like that.
I don't think
at the same point. At that point, they're like they are the same. They're both hunters.
I don't think the Predator has fear. I don't think that's something he comprehends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool though. Let's see. If we go back, the whole helicopter ride from the beginning of the movie. Like, I'm just going down my notes now.
Oh my god! Literally,
it's so dumb, and I love
all
it.
of the dialogue and everything that happens in that scene is just. There are no words. It's
Goddamn
awful.
Sexual
I think it's great.
It's like really, really poorly written. Poorly written to the point of incompetency. It's not funny. It's awkward.
I think it's hilarious how bad it is, but it's like on purpose to me.
I don't feel anything for the characters at all. Even Arnold, I feel nothing for Arnold.
It's not about feeling for the characters, in my opinion. I think it's more about just like
seeing them like clash with each other.
Like, I don't care if they die, but I do want to see their thought process throughout the whole movie. That was more of my thing. You don't see their
thought process. They just say terrible one-liners the entire way. The only
there's like
character
a whole
we see
scene like with Mac, and he's like just saw his friend die, and he just unloads this whole minigun into the freaking just direction that he saw the Predator, and he's freaking out, and then suddenly all his friends come over, and they're all like, "Oh shit, we gotta find out whatever it is," and they all just start shooting. They're all terrified, shooting whatever the hell that thing was.
For like a very extended period, they're just
and they
firing
just waste
nothing.
all their bullets on it. I thought that was a great scene.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite scene.
And then also after
really
that,
good.
you have the scene where they've set up all their defenses, and you have Mac shaving, and he's fucking like terrified, and he's like cutting himself with the razor. Like he's just shaving, and he like presses it to his face too hard, and he cuts himself. I thought that was great.
Oh, I thought that was dumb.
I thought
you really don't like this, dude.
Wow, jeez.
I was bored out of my mind during this movie.
Oh, come on.
Like, first you get the ridiculous, like, okay, I shouldn't
I
say
think you
first.
went into this movie with the wrong mindset. You're expecting something more from it.
I went into this movie thinking that I would feel anything for the characters.
It's a dumb action movie. You don't. That's the point.
You go into like a slasher movie expecting to care about the characters.
I didn't know it was a slasher movie. I thought it was just a legitimate action movie, but it's not.
Yeah, you don't go into Predator with that feeling. It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. You don't... It's not about, like, the characters at all. It's about the scenario, and I think the scenario is really good.
But they try to make it seem like I should care for the character.
Do they?
Because Arnold has the whole, I'm being betrayed by Dylan. We have completely different philosophies about our work. And then you have the whole Arnold trying to become the better hunter, and you have everyone avenging their friends, and you have, like...
I think it's all done as a way to progress the plot, though. I think it's more of a way, like...
Okay, but
Mac wants to, like, avenge his friend,
Blaine.
not because we cared about his friend, but because it gives him a motive to hunt down the Predator with Dylan, and then they sacrifice themselves to show off the Predator's abilities.
Let me phrase this a different way. When you watch this movie, you supported Arnold, right?
Yes.
You were like, yeah, go get that. I felt nothing. I felt like, I don't care if Arnold dies.
Well, I was never like, fuck yeah, kill the Predator. I was just like, oh, fuck yeah, he outsmarted the Predator. Like, I thought it was more cool how he did it. I wasn't... I wasn't rooting against the Predator as a villain. I was rooting against the Predator as more of like an entity. Like,
That's
oh,
the
he
vaguest
overcame
statement I've
it.
ever heard.
I never. The thing is, Predator is so cool. Like, as his own like thing. It's kind of cool if he didn't die. I don't know what I'm trying to get at here at all anymore.
They did a sequel.
I know. I don't know how they do that, because is there like more Predators?
There's
It's
no Arnold.
Predator in the City. I think that's what Predator 2 is.
What is it?
It's like Predator in the City.
But he's dead.
It's another Predator.
It's a different one.
Every
Okay.
movie, it's just different Predators.
Okay. But no, my thing is, I like the Predator. I don't think he's like more of a villain. I think he's more of just the obstacle that they have to overcome.
Yeah, he's a force.
So the antagonist.
Yeah, but like I don't see him as somebody to hate. I just see it like more as a good thing that the heroes overcame it. I think it's like the challenge.
Yeah, the antagonist, the villain. That's
yeah, I know, but I'm not saying that it's.
But
When I'm saying
the
it's not a
sense of
villain, I'm
he's
not
a
saying that it's
character
not
who
the
is a
antagonist.
bad character. He's like, oh, he's the character who's the villain. He's just a thing that exists that you have to overcome. He's like a villain. Well, okay,
Yeah,
not a villain, like a. Okay, fuck you.
I'm not saying he's not a villain. I'm saying I don't hate him, and I don't think I was going against your argument where he was like, "Oh, I don't feel like fuck yeah, he killed the Predator at the end."
It's just
Isn't that like-
hey, he survived the Predator.
Yeah, he survived the Predator.
I meant like when he was building traps and covered with mud, whatever. Were you like invested in what he was doing?
I was like thinking, "Oh, that's really cool. He's building the traps."
So you're invested in what he was
Okay,
doing.
I guess that's one way to say it, but I was never like, "Oh fuck yeah, he's gonna get the Predator." I was never like that.
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Being interested in what
I was
a
happy
character
that he
is
killed the
doing
Predator,
doesn't
yes.
mean being interested
Yes,
in
I
the
was.
character themselves.
The movie did not make me feel like Arnold is someone I should support or care about or be interested in watching for any reason.
Well,
You're saying that you liked watching him outsmart the Predator, so
I
you
don't
thought,
care about Arnold, but I care about just the combat.
Okay.
I cared
It
about
doesn't
the
matter if
fight.
you don't. It doesn't matter if you don't care about him, but him as an agent in the scene, you were interested in what he did and how he did it.
Yes.
I'm
That's
not
what I
saying you
meant.
care about the personality of Arnold.
Okay, well that's what you were
'Cause he
making it
does not
sound
have
like.
one.
That's what you were really making it sound like.
Okay, but being invested doesn't just mean you care about the character. It means you care about what.
Yeah,
the
but you said you were
actions and what's
invested in the
going on.
character. You said you were invested in Arnold winning,
but
and I
he
was like,
doesn't-
okay, that's invested in the character.
Okay, but he is the hero. He is the protagonist. He is the one
Yes.
you were supposed to support in the context of the movie.
Yes,
If
and I
you
support
supported
him.
the Predator, there would be something seriously wrong with you.
I mean, in one hand, the Predator is rad as hell, and has these
Yes.
cool spike things, so I wouldn't be terribly angry with somebody to support the Predator.
Because that's a cool monster.
I would be pretty concerned if they supported the Predator, but okay. You
If
guys
they
have
supported the
difference.
Predator and had a weird looking face with like a bunch of teeth on it, I would be concerned, but for different reasons. Because that would mean they were a predator themselves. Anyways,
Should I just get into my big thing?
sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna go off of this. Basically, I found this. Well, okay, I have a lot here. I have like stuff from like production stuff, and I also have like a whole
Yeah, didn't this movie go under
theory
like some
thing.
production hell?
Okay, so yeah, early on in the film's filming, because they filmed it all in Mexico, and originally the Predator was going to be played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, and
Why?
because the plan was the Predator was going to be very like a nimble, like ninja-like
Oh,
thing.
okay.
So you get martial artist Jean-Claude Van Damme in, and so he's in this bright red suit of like the old Predator's design that does not look good, and it was all bright red. So they'd edit it out in post later
I
to
gotta
do the
see what
camera
this
effect.
looked like. I'm gonna Google this.
Oh yeah, no. If you look for like original Predator suit, you'll see some shit. But basically, Van Damme was
That's awful.
Yeah, Van Damme was complaining a lot about the suit being very
Looks like a
hot, and then
fucking
they were like,
lobster.
yeah, and then they were like, wait, this doesn't look great. He's not very in a very imposing figure. So they dump
They dumped
Van Damme
him.
and get Kevin Peter Hall as the new Predator, and they, so filming was like stopped for a while, so they could like
When was this?
recast, get a new suit ready,
Yeah.
and basically the way the suit comes about is you've got Stan Winston, who's like top dog special effects creator. He did like Aliens, Jurassic Park, and The Terminator, so Arnold knew who he was. It was like, hey, get him to make the suit. And the reason for the Predator's iconic design with the mandibles is James Cameron, who, directed The Terminator at this point, and Aliens, was like, hey, Stan, give it some mandibles, like an insect. That'd be cool. No one's done that yet. And he just like lazily suggested this to Winston while they were
the mandibles,
on a
is that
plane.
like the weird teeth thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like they were just on a flight, and he was just like, hey, give it some mandibles. And it was like, okay, sure, yeah, whatever. And now we have this iconic design that just James Cameron basically just crapped out.
Yeah.
Just
Connor,
like,
I know
it's
you
just
didn't like the film as a whole, but do you at least like what do you have to say about like the design of the monster itself?
When it's in camo, it looks like the most horrendous piece of crap
I will
I've ever
agree
seen.
with that. That thing looks weird.
it was,
It
it was 87, man.
that is
not a
the
lot you
one
can do.
that is the complaint I will absolutely take. That is bad.
Any computer effects, any digital effects in this movie look awful, but the first time they show the Predator out of camo, it's amazing. That's a really good shot.
The suit itself, I think,
But
looks good enough. Oh, sorry.
The more they show him outside of camo, it really weakens the effect. He doesn't really look all that imposing. He just looks kind of. He looks really. His suit doesn't look very good for running around jungles killing people. It looks really heavy and annoying.
I think they kind of knew that though to an extent.
Oh no, yeah, there's stuff
early
where
on.
it's like the actor could not see out the suit, so with the choreography of the fight, he had to like practice it out the mask and just remember where everything was.
I think they went light on it for most of the film on purpose, definitely. Because
it's not easy to work in.
Yeah, it goes back to my complaint with RoboCop, where I think he looks really stupid whenever he's holding a gun because of the gloves. So I think they did well by not having him run around too much until the end of the film.
Yeah, it's just the thing of just when you're in a big old suit like that, you usually can't see, you can't like move very well.
Yeah,
I'm
actually
it's amazing
impressed
it turns
I didn't
out as
realize
well
how
as it does, because seriously,
I didn't realize how restrictive on vision it was.
Yeah, no, like he could not see. He had to do all the like fight choreography without the mask on, and then remember where stuff was and what to do when they actually filmed.
Yeah.
And actually, the actor who played the Predator in the suit is the pilot of the chopper at the end. Because they wanted to have him, in the movie with it, with his face, because he's, under the suit the whole time. So that's how you get him in. And then for my other bit, I've got a whole fucking theory thing that I found on Reddit that I really like.
Okay, we're
gonna be like, oh yeah,
territory.
All right, so basically the idea is just the Predator represents like the evil of killing, and it's basically just like what?
What?
Huh?
No, what did you say? I couldn't hear you.
Basically, the Predator represents like the evil of killing.
Okay.
It's a demon basically, and it's like.
I don't know about that.
So basically, the movie starts with like Dutch the whole time is like, oh, we don't do this type of work. We're a rescue squad, not assassins. But the moment like somebody kills a hostage, he's like, okay, big action hero mode, and he starts blowing people up and spouting one-liners.
Yeah. I guess. I think that's
so
more
basically
of...
Dutch, it's all Dutch's fault.
I think it was more of Dutch lying to them because he wanted to get them on board with their mission, and then he could... Yeah.
It wasn't Dutch who lied.
Or shit, yeah, no, I'm confused.
Dylan.
You're right.
Yeah. But
it was
still,
Dylan who lied to Dutch. Because it was more like Dutch thought he was doing some good work.
Yeah, but he does all this talking of, oh, we don't kill people. I don't do this type of work. And it's like, you just murdered a ton of people.
Well, I don't think he was saying he doesn't kill people. I think he's saying he kills people only to rescue people. Which was what he thought he was doing.
it's like he's like, oh, thou shalt not kill, but
I don't know
never
about
said-
this analogy.
I completely disagree with this. He never says we don't kill, and the only reason, he still thinks one of the hostages is alive when he starts killing people. He only sees one hostage die.
Yeah.
So he was totally willing to kill them all, even just to save them.
Yeah.
I think that's just normal procedure for them.
Yeah, I think that's a weird theory.
And that scene
well,
is...
no, that's only like part of it, because then it's like
Okay,
goes into
what's
like
the other half?
the Predator is basically like, if you take away just the fact that it has a spaceship and it has active camo and lasers, it's basically just a demon. It's not really even an alien.
I don't know.
It's basically treated as like a supernatural thing.
You
Well,
could say that about anything.
Yeah, it's very vague.
Mhm.
One thing I think I saw about this movie was one of the ideas they had for it was after the whole Rocky joke. It was they wanted to make a movie more about somebody being hunted, but not like another man hunting them. Like just what it would be like if a human was a prey. And I think that is a pretty cool concept. And I think that's one of the things I really like about this movie. The Predator is like Man 2, essentially. It's like it has everything that we don't have. It has thermal vision. It has all these gadgets. It's got this weird blade. It has like its own little it had like a little first aid kit that was all advanced with this weird gun. It was like built for hunting people. And so it's like a step above human on the food chain. So it's like, what is it like to be in that spot on the food chain? And I think that's a pretty interesting idea. And I think that probably led to me liking this movie a lot more.
Yeah.
I always like things when people are always caught off guard and they have to defend themselves in a lot of situations.
Oh yeah, no, I like stuff where it's just, hey, you have to like improvise, and you were
I am
like,
a
it's basically
fan of
most
that.
dangerous game sort of stuff.
I love the Most Dangerous Game also. That's a good reference.
Okay, the Most Dangerous Game is a good story, but it's also kind of irrelevant.
It's very
to this.
different. It is very different to this, but it has similarities in that you have man using his wit against an enemy, rather than man hunting a regular thing on the side of the person being hunted. Shit, I forgot what I was gonna say.
And then you can kind of get into like, oh, every single one of the soldiers, they all kill people, so the Predator's like, oh, okay, gotta go kill you, but
Well,
Anna
that was
never
more of
killed anybody.
That was more of the Predator's, like, a supposed hunting guide where he could only kill people that were going to kill other people or kill it. So he was only killing things that were potentially a threat to itself, I think.
Yeah, and
It's
then
supposed
thus it
hunting
never
rules.
attacks Hannah because she doesn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
And at the end, it's just, oh, he refuses to kill the Predator, and just the Predator then kills itself, and
Yeah.
at the end, it's not a happy ending at all. It's just like, well, all my friends are dead.
I survived.
Sad. Like he doesn't. Like originally in the script, Dutch and Anna were going to be smiling, and instead that was like written out, and it's
Yeah.
just bummer.
Speaking
Sad
of,
ending.
like, the end and people smiling, I just wanted to mention the after credits, or not the after credit, like the credit
yeah.
sequence where they do this weird-ass, like, sitcom ending where, like, it like, cuts to all the characters, and they'll be, like, doing something, and then they look up at the camera and smile like a freaking sitcom opening. It's
Except
so
for
weird.
Arnold, where it's just a shot of him turning around and he's not looking at the camera,
Yeah.
and then it freezes.
That's a really common. I've seen that in other movies. They just do that to show the cast.
I know, but I just thought it was
No,
really
and I've
funny,
seen like stuff where
given,
it's
like,
those credits and they put the Full House theme over it.
just
Great.
given the fact that all these characters just died brutally, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, after like such a bummer downer ending, and then it's just, hey, here's our.
I wouldn't say
Here's
it's
this
that
weird
big of a
sitcom.
downer ending. I mean, at least
You
they
know, it's
lived.
just like a very like, oh, that like not a happy ending at all.
I don't think it was
And
not
then it's
happy.
just
I think
your
it was just kind of
sitcom.
like,
I think there's a level to the ending that's like, oh man, isn't humanity great?
is there?
I don't think it's all depressing. I think it's more like,
I always,
yes, Arnold is amazing and he survived. And he's
I
not
always
happy
thought it
at
was
all.
It's
just
not like a
like-
walk into the sunset moment.
Okay,
It's-
but would you be?
I think it was more of a like, oh god,
War
we
is
just
hell.
barely made it through that kind of ending. But it was like I wouldn't call it a bad ending. I just would call it like a relief ending.
It's a victory.
I mean, it is a victory of sorts, but it's not like played out. Like it's not like, oh Arnold, you are the hero. I'm gonna give you this medal. I'm going to salute
Okay, but
you
I'm not
and everything
talking
like
about
that.
I'm not talking about the literal events of the movie. I mean, like, in the overall scheme of things, he survived. He won. The audience should be happy that he won.
I know, but
it's
what
not
I'm
like a cry because of the men we've lost ending. It's a yes, he survived.
I'm not saying it's a bad ending.
I know.
Well,
I
no,
know.
it does play the theme that plays during the like kind of I guess pseudo funeral they do for Blaine, where Mac
I
is
didn't
like
feel anything for Blaine.
I was
honestly,
not
I just
playing
thought it was
that.
more. I always thought it was more that
it plays the same theme.
yeah.
I was not paying that much attention at all.
Well, yeah, because you super didn't like this movie and you just check out of things.
Okay, this movie I
Shots
didn't check
fired.
out of.
Jeez.
I legitimately watched all of this movie all the way through, and I was just bored. The more I talk about it, the less I like it. There's nothing to like about this movie.
I
It's
think there's a ton of stuff. I think all the action's really fun. I
okay.
think it's for a movie of its kind. It doesn't overdo itself. It doesn't like pretend that it's saying anything really interesting, but it also doesn't. I don't think it like is stupidly like over the top with its action. It's not like they're killing predators left and right. I think it's
Okay.
really interesting to see an action film where the people with the guns are losing sometimes.
Okay, but let's look at it this way. If it's not saying anything, why watch it?
You don't have to. You could just have fun. You don't have to have everything have a message. I don't think that's something that all films should be. And in a way, it isn't saying nothing. It just isn't saying anything huge. It's just saying, oh, we can prevail. Oh, we can survive. But also, if we weren't the top dogs, we probably wouldn't. But at the same time, I wouldn't say it's like going hard at any messages here. And I don't think all movies have to.
I think when you create something and you put it into the world for other people, you should have at least some reason for people to want to engage with it.
Yeah,
Besides,
to
It's
watch
an
it for fun.
enjoyable, effective
Besides-
action movie.
But how is it effective? It's just people
Does its
dying.
damn job.
people
I think it's
running
fun because
around a jungle.
I think the whole type where it's them versus it, and they don't know what it is. It's a classic monster movie setup if you think about it in that way.
Yeah.
And it's just them trying to survive against it.
It's just, hey, it starts like your typical Arnold shoot 'em up action movie, and then it turns into a monster movie.
You're typical. Okay, you're saying this as if I've seen anything else with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, which I haven't. I don't know what to expect with going to these things because I think of action movies I like. I think of like Leon the Professional, which is
Well, yeah,
like
you have a weird you and you have your very specific.
I think you just don't like regular the 80s action movies.
isn't RoboCop 80s? I flippin' love RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop's a really, really smart movie compared to a lot
Yeah,
of those
exactly.
movies.
RoboCop is incredible.
Yeah, but that's
RoboCop
yeah, but compared
is
to a
an
lot of other
exception
movies,
to the
RoboCop
norm.
has like actual themes and a lot to like comment on.
This isn't Commando or Demolition Man. Well, Demolition Man's a little different, but
Demolition Man is goofy as fuck.
it's goofy, but like that's a different story.
Commando is the better comparison here.
Yeah. If you compare it to those movies or like a Rambo sequel, it is definitely a whole caliber smarter.
Yeah, I can't name any good examples because all the good action movies I can think of that are a little bit dumber, but like, Fifth Element is pretty dumb. Most
The
of the
Fifth Element is more of
movies-
like a sci-fi comedy, in my opinion.
It's pretty heavy on the action though.
Well, it's an action comedy.
Is this not an action comedy?
This one's a lot less on the comedy, but there is a lot of really funny moments.
I mean, all of the dialogue is pure ham.
I will give you, if it bleeds, we can kill it. I thought, I don't think I've ever said "fuck yeah" and simultaneously laughed at a line before, but "if it bleeds, we can kill it" is definitely up there.
This stuff will turn you into a goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus.
That part I was, again, just cringing.
You're supposed to laugh at them.
Because they're trying really hard to be macho men.
Do it, kill me, do it now.
And then he just walks around the trap and he's like,
fuck no.
Oh.
But then in second trap, there's some other great choice lines in here.
I mean, just
you're one ugly motherfucker.
I ain't got time to bleed.
That's the one I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't got time to bleed. And then the reply is just, oh, okay. I don't know. I think this movie's just fun and it's great. I don't see any reason to hate it.
Yeah. I
just kind of don't believe in things that are substanceless.
It's not completely substanceless. I think I misspoke earlier. I like the whole plot of it's this man versus kind of like a force of nature, but like kind of also an enemy. And it's what happens if man is not top dog, and I think that's a interesting plot in of itself.
Okay, but let's point at. You can also point at Godzilla for that same exact premise.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that this movie's bad because Godzilla also exists. I just think it also does that premise well. But also, Godzilla is more charged on the whole nuclear.
And also, Godzilla is more of like a thing is more focused on the force of nature, thing you can't stop angle.
This is more of
whereas
like
Predator is totally beatable.
This is like something theoretically beatable, but damn it, you gotta really use your head. Or really try.
I mean, I'm a person who creates things. I create fiction.
I create things too. I'm a 3D modeler, and I think you can tell a story with an environment.
I'm a person who creates narratives.
You can create a narrative with an environment.
Let's rephrase that. So when I watch a movie like this, I have to think. I have to stop and think. What was going through their heads as they were writing the script for this movie, as they were making it, as they were directing it? And there's very little I can come up with. It feels like a superhero movie or something, like where you have hero versus bad guy. Hero wins eventually. Maybe they might use their wits. Maybe they might use a coincidence. Maybe they might use the environment. I don't know.
I really like the dynamic.
It's just so easy to look at the framework of it and be like, "Oh, I know what's going to happen." Like, yeah, sure, it starts out like a military movie, and the first hour is basically just a military movie, but then you get into you were calling it a slasher movie, which that's what it turns into.
I think it's another thing I like about it is there's no I don't think there's a real point where it directly cuts between the two. There's more of like a good 10 minutes of it where just slow
the bodies show up early, so it's like you don't really know it's the Predator yet because they're just assuming
it's like some demoralization tactic.
See, I disagree because you have the whole framing device of the spaceship.
Well, the audience.
And actually, there is a hint
but then
of
you
the
forget
Predator,
about it.
When Billy first finds the bodies, you hear the Predators clicking for the first time, and then shortly after, you get the first shot with the thermal.
Predator vision.
But also, additionally to that, there is a point where it directly switches from military to slasher because literally the scene after they clear the guerrilla camp, they have the scene with the Predator going up and picking up the Scorpion. So you immediately know, oh, the shift has changed.
Yeah, that is true.
The focus has shifted.
But it's
I have nothing against that shift. I think that's fine. I might be talking like I absolutely hated this movie, but I was more towards it. It's just I don't see what's the value of this movie. There's nothing memorable. There's nothing.
I'd have to disagree with you on all of those. On that, it's just like
okay, but there might be lines and scenes where you can say, "Haha, that happened."
Well, no, not even just that. I just think the whole dynamic of the Predator is really cool. I think the whole idea of them being hunted is interesting, and it's done in a different way than a slasher movie. It's like these like army men. It's these army men that are like using all they have. They're not just like
It's not like, oh,
victims.
defenseless teenagers in a neighborhood
it's not like
versus
that.
some guy with a knife.
It's
It's big army dudes against, what's better than army dudes? Alien.
they really do feel like they have a shot against this threat, and they do to an extent if they were to be able to know the Predator's weaknesses and everything.
Yeah, but the fake confidence is also an aspect of the slasher movie.
Well, I'm not saying that it's not a slasher movie. I'm just saying it's a typical way of doing that. I think the army military setup for a slasher movie hasn't been done in any way that I can think of other than Predator, and I really like how it ends up because of it.
Man versus something better than man.
Yeah.
Again, that's just Godzilla. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but it's not Godzilla because it's smaller than Godzilla and they can fight it.
Okay.
You can't fight Godzilla.
Even though
Unless
they
you're
do,
in Shin Godzilla,
like,
whatever.
in like most of the Godzilla movies I've seen, they specifically fight it. That's
Yeah,
kind
but
of the
it's
point.
a very different
Most of the
dynamic.
time, he's unbeatable. He only dies literally twice, and one of the times the humans don't even actually kill him.
The thing is
It's
with this is
different means.
they
Okay,
don't
but
know
you're
what the threat is either. They know
You're
what
talking.
when
You keep on talking about this dynamic, but it's the same
okay,
thing.
okay, whatever.
No-
Okay, but here's the different thing.
It's the
when
same
they
thing,
fight
but you can do
Godzilla-
it differently.
They know what the fuck Godzilla is. It's huge.
No, they don't.
Well, yeah, but they know what it looks like. They have a vision in their head. The
They can see
Predator, they're
him.
like, we don't even know what we're fighting. It could be a guy. It could be 3 guys. It could be fuck all. It could be a fucking animal. We don't know.
I don't see any atmospheric difference between those.
I think it's an unknown threat where they visually have no clue what they're fighting.
It's like
how does the
a
visual
visible
differ?
threat versus an unseen threat.
Okay, but how does the dynamic of that differ? You don't know what to do to combat this thing.
It's not the dynamic is different. I guess I did say that, but I don't think it's that. It's the way that the fight works is different. They think that they can fight it. They try like I guess it is kind of like Godzilla.
They fire.
We're not going to be able to turn Connor on this. He's pretty set.
But
in
at
They
the
fire guns at a thing they don't understand, and eventually they might figure something out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but just because Godzilla exists doesn't mean that this movie sucks.
it doesn't invalidate Predator.
I think this movie does it well, and I think Godzilla also does it well.
I'm trying to use. I'm
What
trying
does
to
Godzilla
contrast
do
them.
that this doesn't?
Well, it has a reason for existing.
Okay, well, I think
Someone
Predator
sat down
also
and
has
thought
an.
they-
The
Someone
Predator.
sat down and someone
Go.
sat down and thought, yes, there is a reason why this story of Godzilla should exist in society. I want people to see this. I want them to learn something. Predator is just let's make some money with an action movie.
I
with
don't
Arnold
think that's what
Schwarzenegger.
it was, though. I think the idea behind it was more of what happens if man is being hunted. It's like, well, what if there was something that existed like that? It is asking the question, what is that? Just because Godzilla was invented because of a nuclear idea, it existed because of a different reason. I just think that this movie is just asking, like, well, what if that threat just existed? And it asked that question. It's just a more simple question, in my opinion. But I think it's still an interesting and valid question to ask.
I think it's a really pathetic excuse to make a movie.
I think it was interesting.
It makes a movie that I really enjoy, and that I respect the movie. It does a lot of good. I guess not for you, because oh well.
Yeah, I just completely disagree with everything.
Anyways, that's about all I have to say about the movie. I love the hell out of it.
Yeah, no, I really love this movie. I find it very
there's some
enjoyable.
goofy moments, but
Yeah, there's some
fun.
goofy stuff,
And
but it's fun.
I always love
suspenseful.
just the man versus nature, but like not just nature, but like man versus thing that they don't know what is. And I'm always down for one of those plots, and I think this one really does it well of like, well, what is it like when man hunts? What happens if man is being hunted by a hunter? And I think that was an interesting question to ask, and I think it was a very interesting product as a result of it.
Yeah, that about sums it up for me too.
Do we want to get into ratings? Can sum up our opinions there.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not gonna say no.
Okay, well then say yes.
Okay, yes.
I would say, honestly, I really like the setting of this movie. I really like, I've said it again and again, I like the fight, I like the concept, and I really like the stupid dialogue. I love the visuals to an extent, except for like when the Predator is invisible, that's kind of dumb. I want to give this an 8 out of 10. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't find it boring. I found it really fun.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic, really well done action movie that takes, horror slasher tropes and fits it perfectly. It's just very enjoyable, has fun, goofy characters and dialogue. The effects are just those practical effects, moi. And I just respect it, and I really enjoy it. 8 out of 10.
Probably 3 out of 10. Pretty lame.
What, really?
Yeah. Maybe
even
lower.
I feel like you seem to hate this more than you've hated other things. That
yeah. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, what was good about it? You got all the performances are pretty awful. The dialogue. I think it's mostly just because of how the dialogue's written. I don't think they're bad actors. The dialogue. There's not one single good line of dialogue. The visuals are jungle. The practical effects are fantastic. That's like the only leniency I want to give it. The Predator suit looks amazing.
Most of the time.
they knew exactly how much to show of the Predator suit. Maybe they went a little more than what they should.
Like, especially early on, like your first shot
really
of
cool.
like undercloaked is when he's like doing the medical stuff on himself. And
Yeah, that looks fantastic.
Like,
Yeah, that was a really good one.
And that's all you see at first.
That seems.
And then it's when he's caressing the skulls and cleaning them off.
Oh, I just realized we didn't even mention we always make Metal Gear references. I don't know how the hell we went this long without mentioning the fact that this is the direct inspiration for the Fear boss fight from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that would make sense.
No, this literally, like, I think Kojima literally saw Predator and was like, I want to make a boss fight out of it.
Predator actually came out the same year as Metal Gear 1. 87.
Yeah. I mean, Kojima just likes putting films in his work, but anyways.
Oh, of course he does. Oh, no, all the time.
Yeah. I guess we should get into next film.
We're going to be doing something I already know I enjoy. So, we're going to do Lupin the Third, Castle of Cagliostro. We're just going to keep it simple. I've been in the mood to rewatch this for a while. It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's 1979, so we're going back a couple years.
Oh, wow.
It's actually the second Lupin the Third movie that ever came out, and you guys have seen Gritty Lupin. Get ready to see the exact opposite.
Goofy Lupin.
This is Miyazaki, so it's
Okay.
the height of cartoon Lupin.
Yeah, Lupin as cartoon of a man.
Also, he's a good person, like just straight up.
Lupin's actually a nice guy.
All right.
So
I
yeah,
look forward to it.
Yay. Good. That one's on Netflix, so
yeah.
that'll be easy.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
bye.